Welcome to SMR Bitesize. Let's bust another myth, shall we? But before that, if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and of course, subscribe to the channel. How many times have we been told it's the will of the people, or these are the people's priorities? It's a tried and tested trick our government have been up to for, well, as long as they've been our government. An attempt to conjure up out of thin air a mandate to do pretty much whatever they please. Yeah, we know, Rishi, you're delivering on the people's priorities. And yes, it's so comforting to know that our priorities are your priorities and vice versa. But just who is this colossal group of people our government just love referring to as the people? Well, as all current polling makes very clear, it's certainly not the majority of us. And as far as Brexit goes, it never was. So who is it then? These people? Quite possibly. This person, clearly hoping to be beamed up by the SS Sovereignty, or perhaps these patriotic Englishmen. Oh, and yeah, there's a couple of women there too. Or perhaps these lovely lads. Or maybe this not quite so lovely lad. Who's to tell, but our government sure does make a habit of telling us what we think, and then using that as the foundation blocks for pretty much any policy they feel like. Take, for example, Suella Braverman's address to the Commons after her Rwanda policy was deemed to be unlawful.
This judgment is disappointing for the majority of the British people, who have repeatedly voted for controlled migration, and for all those who want to see us deliver on our moral and democratic imperative to stop the boats.
Or take note of her language in a press interview conducted shortly afterwards.
The Prime Minister and I have made a promise to the British people to stop the boats. We are committed to delivering on that promise. So we need to change the system. We need to change our laws. That's how we're going to stop the boats.
Then, of course, there's our Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, always keen to remind us what's top of our to-do list.
It's simply not right that people come here illegally. It's unfair on those who follow the rules, on those who really deserve our help. Under my leadership, the government's priorities are your priorities, the people's priorities.
And all this, despite the fact that in almost every election ever, more people vote against the party that ends up winning power, in this case the Conservatives, than for it. And we've addressed exactly why that happens in quite a number of previous videos. And we made very clear at the start of this one that appearing to give the people what they want, whilst reminding them that they really want it, is a tried and tested technique that works highly effectively across generations and borders. In fact, take a look at this example as a pretty clear Tory blueprint, which we're certain has had more than a little bearing on the way the Tories like to do things. In fact, these words are almost 100 years old. So, how should a government communicate with its people? Well, it must always address itself to the broad masses, be presented in a popular form, and must fix its intellectual level so as not to be above the heads of the least intellectual of those to whom it is directed. Awaken the imagination of the public through an appeal to their feelings in finding the appropriate psychological form that will arrest the attention and appeal to the hearts of the national masses. Well, so far so Tory, but why exactly do those techniques work? It goes on. Broad masses of the people are not made up of diplomats or professors, nor simply of persons who are able to form reasoned judgment in given cases, but a vacillating crowd of human children who are constantly wavering between one idea and another. The great majority of a nation are ruled by sentiment rather than by sober reasoning. This sentiment, however, is not complex, but simple and consistent. It's not highly differentiated, but has only the negative and positive notions of love and hatred, right and wrong, truth and falsehood. And those words were, of course, from a book published in 1925 titled Mein Kampf. Now, I don't mean to come across all Gary Lineker here, but them's the facts, guys. It's pretty hard to argue that it isn't techniques precisely like those that are designed perfectly to whip up people like this. Guys like these. Stop the boats, the swarms of invading criminals intent on breaking into our country. Tell the British people you're only following orders, their orders, and hey presto, welcome to Tory Britain 2023. Are these your priorities? After all, you are the people. No? Well, it's probably time you spoke up then, isn't it? Bitesize is taking a short break. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Thursday, the 10th of August. Until then, don't forget, there's a weekly radio show made just for you. And there's a link in the description. With this year's National Rejoin March set for September the 23rd in London, why not kit yourself out ahead of the big day? You'll find everything you need and more courtesy of our friends at Stay European. All orders over £15 are delivered free, and here's the best bit. As an SMR Bitesize viewer, you'll get 10% off everything you order. Just enter the code at the checkout. And yep, there's a shop link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, visit 16millionrising.co.uk, where you can listen to this week's full radio show for free, support us with a donation, buy us a coffee, or subscribe as an early riser. Back tomorrow.
March!